Hi guys, and welcome to the channel. First and foremost, as always, just want to say a big thank you to all the supporters of the channel. Anybody who's commented on previous videos, subscribed to us, it's greatly appreciated as always. Any newcomers to the channel, I hope you enjoy this video, and please go back and check out some of the old videos. Yeah, if you're watching and you haven't subscribed yet, please press that button. We're about 420 subscribers, and we do want to see the channel grow. So it does help us out immensely. So, but yeah, that all being said, yeah, it's been probably over a week since my last video, and that's because I've been pretty much flat out working on this. I haven't had time to video any updates or do absolutely anything else. Yeah, so this is going to be my final video for the U.S.A.C.C group build hosted by Mark Batson and U.S.A.C.C. A great group build that I'm really glad I joined now. But yeah, this is Friday morning. I'm already Friday the 17th. I'm already 2 days late. I don't think anybody's really seen this model since the last update where we just had the body and primer. But yeah, I think the only people who have seen any kind of progress on it was, I posted a few pictures on the group page on Wednesday just to apologise to everybody for not quite making the deadline. I know there was an extension, but I didn't want to cut any corners, and there were certain things I would have had to really do or not do, so to speak, to make that deadline. And I would never have been happy with the model, and once I've done something, I don't want to go back into changing stuff. So yeah, so I do apologise. I'm a little bit late on this one, not by far, but it's late's late nonetheless. But anyways, yeah, I thought before we actually get into the final build clip, the finished model, because we hadn't done any updates, I thought I'd just show you the pre-assembly so you can see things in a bit more detail before we glue it all together. I mean, it shouldn't take long to glue all this together now, and I think there might be a few adjustments here and there with the interior. I might have to sand a bit of the notch out a little bit of the side panel just to fit over the B pillars we put in. Other than that, I don't think it should cause me any issues getting this together. But yeah, I mean, like I say, before we lock it all in, we'll start with the interior. I ain't glued in the dash yet, but yeah, when I was looking at pictures on this, because of this car, which I was trying to sort of recreate, I'd never say replicate, because you're always going to have to make some kind of concessions in scale. But when it came to the interior, there was literally just one shot of the interior, and it wasn't a very good one. I've searched the internet high and low, and all you could really see was like from this corner onwards pointing down, and the only thing I could gather from that interior that it was green. I wasn't actually sure on doing the interior green at first, but I wanted to keep it as close to the real car as possible. But because I couldn't see anything else, I think the only things I could see was that these trims in here, they were in a beige colour, it was, and then you could just see the top of the carpets, which was beige also. But because I couldn't see the rest of the interior, and I would never have been able to match the patterns on the rear seat, this was where I'd allowed myself a bit of creative license, so to speak. Starting off with a dash. It's we've detailed that up with just bits from the parts box. I've absolutely no idea where that radio came from. It is moulded in like an old AMT blue plastic. So we just added a bit of wiring for the telephone, and we added a little CB radio. And I tried to use as many sort of 70s kind of colours as possible. So I did like the phone and the speaker for the CB radio in like a beigey cream. I mean, I think you could pretty much get anything in all kinds of hearing aid beige back in the 70s. So I just did want to add a bit of colour in there. Added a bit of colour to the buttons, red and yellow on the CB radio. I did change it to a column shift on this one. Yeah, I didn't want a manual transmission in it. I think the even though I hadn't changed anything on the engine, but I am too fussed about that, to be quite fair. So yeah, we just added a little column shifter in there. Added some dash decals. Yeah, I did that stupidly after I've installed the steering wheel. So but yeah, we just added a little gun mount on there. And yeah, I mean, if you do, by the way, if you do want to just go ahead and skip to the next, if you want to see the video, the car completed, then just skip to the next clip. But yeah, for those who are interested, yeah, again, we'll just show these in detail. It might end up being a bit of a long video, but you know, there's been a lot of work since, and you know, like I say, I haven't updated anything past that. So yeah, like I say, I wanted a bit of creative license. I didn't want beige carpets in it. I wanted a very sort of bog standard vinyl covers on the seats and what have you. Yeah, so I went with a black sort of rubber carpet, as quite a lot of fleet vehicles had back then. And yeah, I originally painted it in. It was just some cheap garden paint. It was at one of the pound shops a couple of years ago, and I thought, well, there's a different colour, and I've never found a use for it since. But I thought I'd just start. I based up the seats in the parcel shelf in that spray, and it was just a little bit too much. I wanted a bit of contrast, so I just got a bit of lighter green craft paint. Just a parcel shelf. You can't really see, but the bottom of the seats are done in that lighter green as well. The bottom of the dash is being done in the lighter green. And we just added a few little police details. I didn't want to overdo it. So I just got the radar gun. I left the window bracket on it, as if he's just taken it off and put it on back seat. But again, we did them in like 70s kind of off-whites and beiges and what have you, and just put like a fire blanket in there, painted it up, and a first aid box. I think all these are various AMT little accessories from the 70s and 60s maybe. And I didn't want to put too much on the dashboard. There's already a lot going on with the dash. So yeah, I didn't want to put too much on the seats. So I just found a little clipboard. Ironically, it says AMT on it, but yeah, I just put that next to the driver's seats. Yeah, we got it all painted black underneath, and yeah, so you can't see any of this. I hadn't bothered trying to correct that chassis where there's a gaping hole, so I've just painted everything black like I do anyways. Yeah, we just added the one rear police light on the parcel shelf. Yeah, looking at the photos, it just had one red light on the parcel shelf. We also did some radio delete for like a lot of police vehicles had radio delete, and I wanted them to look like blanking plates rather. I mean, I could have easily just filled these and sanded them flush, but you know, half the time with these cars, you know, radio delete was just slapping a plate over what was there before and what have you. And I think I just did the same with the dashboard. I mean, the styrene was like wafer thin, so you know, it sat into the speaker recesses okay, and I kind of like that look. And yeah, it shows you what we've done as well. Like, just gives you a hint of what we've done. So yeah, we're already at 10 minutes and we're still banging on about the interior. Wheels. I've really struggled with the wheels, to be quite honest with you. You know, first of all, we I just chucked everything down there. Yeah, I couldn't save the original hubcaps from that build kit, you know. And to be quite fair, I think they were too small anyway for this car. But yeah, and then I was looking at AMT wheels and AMT tyres, but nothing really sat right. This is such a big model that, you know, they were just getting lost. I ended up cutting the centre sections out of the original Roadrunner wheel, and then I just dropped to a late 60s Joanne Mopar wheel in the centre there, and got it so it just sits down beneath the lip and what have you. I mean, they're not perfect or anything, but you know, they all fit to the original tyres and what have you, and it's all press fit. So if it needs be, I'm not going to glue any of this, to be fair. Hubcaps wise, I was originally going to use these. Now these are closer to 70 a year. These are like 68, 69, so I'm on road runners and stuff like that. But they were, even though, like I say, they were closer to the year, they didn't have the same kind of look as the originals, which I wanted, and it just gave the car a completely different look when I've taken these out, sliced it, and I've tried them on here. And yeah, I think even though I was 90% going to use these, I did end up using the earlier style Mopar wheels, just because they resemble the original a little bit better, and it makes it look like the car I was trying to do. So yeah, we're just sticking them on anyway with these. I found these at Home Bargains about 6 months ago. I never found a use for them, and I think I used them on something recently. But yeah, I'm just using these to stick the hubcaps on for now. I'm probably going to super glue them all on later. But yeah, I'm still a little bit unsure about the wheels at the moment. But yeah, you can see them glue dots. They do hold them in, and you can move them about a little bit. But I think I will super glue them. But yeah, so that's what we've done with the wheels. So I've just got to press fit that one on there and stick that last hubcap on. Bumper. Just got to add some little bits and pieces on it, but you know, one of the things I wouldn't have been able to do, I'd try to meet that Wednesday deadline, was on the real car. It had some fleet bumper push bars, and so I ended up scratch building these out of just sheet styrene. I used what is it, a contour gauge. I'll just show you. I just used one of these. Like I say, this video might go on, so you know, if you got a spare 45 minutes, then please do carry on watching. If not, just get to the finished model. But yeah, just use this contour gauge. It does come in handy every now and again for stuff like that, and then just trace that onto a bit of styrene, and then just drew the rough outline. I mean, it was actually acrylic, so it's a nightmare to work with. But yeah, just roughed it on the acrylic. I just roughed out a line of how I wanted it to look, and burred all this bit out, and then razor sawed the rough edge, and I just glued it to the bumper, and got it all, sanded it to shape. And if you are doing something like this, though, I'd recommend putting it on the car occasionally, because you know, when do you think that bumper's sitting straight, you kind of work in the contours, and then you fit it to the car, and it does slip down at a slight angle. So I did have to redo these a little bit, just give them a bit more shape. But yeah, we added a small bit of styrene strip on top of that, just for the rubber bumper push inserts, the rubber mountings. Then we just painted this trim as they're supposed to be in the black rubber. Yeah, so yeah, we used some I'll show you the decal sheet I used, bought for this kit. But yeah, we used the Washington plates, which are in there. They're probably a bit new, but I think this car has been restored by Seattle Police Department. I think they do quite a few things, and they actually use them on service as well, call outs. So it'd be a re-registered car anyway, or so I'm just using that as an excuse to use the matching washing plates which came on decal sheet. But yeah, the rear bumper's been chromed and what have you. We had to trim the license plate down quite a bit just to hem it in that smaller slot on the rear bumper. The roof bar was another thing I wouldn't have been able to do. So this is all, I wouldn't say scratch built, but I'm using parts from three different AMT kit or the so I'd like to say I could have just cut corners. This is the light bar from the Joanne 68 Plymouth Fury, and it does fit over the top of this, but it is, if you look at the real car, the light bar's really quite high up, and the bar's too narrow, and even though it does fit the roof quite well, it just doesn't look to scale. It looks like it's just pancakes onto the roof, and you could probably just, it's almost touching the roof. So if I was to get it done by Wednesday, I would have had to have used that. But instead, like I say, bought myself a bit more time, used a bit of that flat sprue out of the 1/32 Cortina. Yeah, that sprue's come in quite handy, and the two lights on the side there from the Joanne 68 Plymouth, as is the centre speaker. I think the real car had like a round speaker, but I just don't have one. I mean, I've got a lot of police spares and stuff, but yeah, but I couldn't find it. And I'm quite happy enough with this one anyway. These two lights are from the AMT 78 Dodge Monaco. I think they're like the parcel shelf lights, but they fitted really well on there and look like the real car. And they're supported by the actual roof brackets from the 70 Interceptor. I think you get them in the 70 Impala as well, and they are a nightmare to use. But we've got it all lined up on I haven't broken any of these bits off here. Yeah, I don't want to touch this stuff until, I mean, it's only painted maybe a couple of days ago at max. I mean, in all fairness, I mean, by Tuesday night, the whole kit hadn't been built at all. As far as I got was doing the two-tone and putting the decals on and the bare metal foil so I could clear it. But yeah, I mean, we're getting on there, and it's good to see it finally coming together. But yeah, the engine, we're not doing any wiring on this. It was never going to have a wide engine, this car. It's always just going to be a nice clean built kit. I don't think it'll ever, with the work on the hood, it'll never be displayed with the hood open. So we just found that old engine in parts box, and we repainted it, and the air cleaners just from I think it's the AMT 71 Duster. Because like I said, when it came to the engine bay, I'll show you it on the car, but again, one shot on the whole internet and you could just make out a few details. So I could see the engine colour, and it was a 340. But yeah, I mean, that's nice enough for me. That's absolutely nice enough for me. I think the chassis, we really didn't do much at all. I've just got to glue these. Now this engine's fully glued, I'm just need to glue the exhaust to the headers. But yeah, we didn't do much at all. The one thing I I really did do is on this. This is just that rough built kit I bought, and yeah, I was going to use this actually to start another conversion, but yeah, I'm noticing all front ends all janky down there and it's warps. It's a no-go. Even though it looks okay from a distance, it's pretty much useless, this kit now, I think, but we'll see what we do with it one day. But yeah, the one thing about the wheels I hated about this kit from day one was that they push so far out. They're almost touching the wheel wells, so I did want to tuck them in. So all we really did was I literally cut as much off the supporting nubs on here and sanded as much down. I've sanded the wheel backs flat, whereas I think on the, like I say, on these you can see that they got like big mounting sort of holes on them, so they're all flushed as flat as possible. I would have liked to have got the rear end lower, but the wheel, when you're tucking in the wheels, you know, it bows down a bit more, and this is as low as I can get the rear suspension. You know, paint wise, we did the same on the front. We just I just cut off altogether the mounting nub on that, and you know, sanded it right, sanded all the sides of the axle right down, and then sanded them at a little bit of an angle just so I could glue the wheels on in a bit of a pose position. But paint wise, we just flat blacked it, did the axles in a gloss black, and just dusted a bit of the white aerosol up the sides just to show a little bit of overspray. I'm not weathering anything on this kit at all. It's going to be completely unweathered. But I mean, I think that looks like a nice chassis, to be quite fair, and yeah, that's pretty much all done now. Decals we used for the body, you know, luckily they came in last week from America. These are, I couldn't find any period Seattle. The only Seattle decal sheet I could find was from J&S, and they were from like a late model police car with the stripes and what have you. But you know, the actual shield's pretty much the same. So and these aren't pre-cut anyway, so you have to cut them all out. So we just use a knife round, carefully cut the shields out, and you know, that's given us the shields on the side. And you know, it had a couple of other decals on there. It had the Seattle Police trunk lid decals, which I would have been really disappointed if I didn't have them, because you know, that isn't a very highly decaled sort of car in real life. But yeah, I mean, they did have these, and I was really pleased that that sheet came with these, because it just adds a little bit to the rear end. The front police decals were from the Chevy van, the rescue Chevy van kit. They're really close to the real car, and the J&S one didn't come with them, so, and I positioned them exactly how they're positioned on the real car. I would have really liked to have pulled them back a little bit and maybe down a bit, but that's where they were, right tucked up in the corner. But yeah, I mean, we'll have a look at the body in the next clip. I mean, we're at 24 minutes already, so I really apologise. This is going to be such a long video, but like I said, there's a lot being done to it. So, but yeah, I mean, we'll look at the body in detail. I'll try and wrap this up now. But yeah, I didn't do really much to the engine bay. We obviously, I think the only thing that really bothered me in this engine bay was the battery tower. So we just, like I say, we showed you in the last video where we just raised the saw down, slid a bit of sheet styrene in. We just detail painted that up, and yeah, like I say, on the picture, I was so close to painting this engine bay black. In fact, it was the night before, and I was worked quite late on it, and the body was just in white at the time, and I thought, well, the best time for me to paint the engine bay is black. Then before I put the blue on it, and I was just watching telly that night, and I was flicking through my phone looking at pictures, and I just found one picture of the engine bay, and like I say, it was just directing over, and I could see these washer bottles, these screen washer bottles, whatever they are, and other bits and pieces. They were in. You could see they'd like yellowed off and browned off as they do over time, and I could see I had a green cap on this one, so I put the green cap on there and added a few decals and what have you. But yeah, I mean, that was the night before, and I could just see that the engine bay was in the white body colour. So I'm glad I didn't paint it now, because that would have been a nightmare having to put that back. So yeah, I mean, rear lights. Obviously we shaped them to how they're supposed to be on the satellites, and the Plymouth emblem I just had to freehand. There was no way I was gonna bare metal foil that. So, but the lenses, I think I found like a long light panel from an old Pontiac Viro, so I just cut the curved ends off them, cut the centre out, split them in two. Just glued them in from the back side. I do this on every model, but I especially with that gaping hole in there, I painted all the inside of the body black, and just so you don't see it. I just don't like seeing the overspray or anything like that when you can see sometimes that that there's so much detail gone into a chassis, and then you can see like overspray through the gaps, and just seems like it just helps hide all that stuff for me, and I'm not looking at it at a later date, kicking myself and not doing anything about it at the time. But yeah, we painted the headliner in green, and yeah, just to tie it in with the interior. We actually used the front glass out of this one. This has just become a donor car. I put the old glass in here, but whereas on that old built kit I had, it had like dusted overspray to mimic a dirty screen, and once I polished that off, and yeah, I could see all this stress cracking underneath it. So we managed to cut this one out and polish that one up and make that fit. And the rear glass was from this kit. I nearly cut a new rear glass, but I pretty much raised the sword all around it just so it'd fit in between all me supports, all me bracing. And then we just scratch built some rear glass for the rear doors. Just glued in place. And if like I say, another thing, if I was to get it done by Wednesday, I wouldn't have done anything on this interior at all. I would have painted it green, and the easy way to have got around that was just to put a full side glass in this door here. But it would have just complete, like I say, you do that and you're blocking out any detail at all. So I did want some light going in there, but I didn't want it to just look like it's got no glass at all in. So on both of these sides, I just cut some more clear sheet plastic from packaging. Just used a bit of Tamiya tape on there, and glued them in place to look like roll down windows, and now you get a bit of light in there, and you can see kind of what's going on. It's the reason I didn't put a bullet guard in there, like the guards they had in there, which I was going to do. It would have blocked off too much light into the back, and especially with these rear windows, and you wouldn't have been able to see anything. So, but But yeah, I mean, we got the hood fitting okay. Was doing my head in at first, to be quite honest with you, but I found that I knew there would be a way to make, because you see a lot of these and the bonnets are rocking from side to side, and it's because of the grill. You got a lip on the bottom of these, and you got two ways to resolve it. I know a lot of people like have chrome foiled around this trim here, like it's supposed to be. You know, a lot of people, and to be quite honest, myself included, had I not done this for a YouTube video, I probably wouldn't have bothered and just painted it. But yeah, I mean, if you're just going to paint the grill surround, you may as well just scribe along this line here until you're all the way through. That'll drop your hood down without any. If you wanted the grill to be really flush, but you know, if you want the hood to be flush, all it takes is you just gotta give this front grill a little bit of a tease over on the top. I mean, it looks right, to be fair. I know it's not perfect fitting in there, but they weren't on the real car, you know, between the outer trim and the grills. But yeah, I mean, that was a last night thing. I figured that one out. I just had it next to the sofa, and as I was doing my head in, I was thinking, what do I need to do to get this to fit properly? And you know, I've just managed to get it in there. Now the lip hangs over the edge of the grill, and that's, sorry, just picking up the hood. And that's resolved that issue. And you know, I've done a lot of work to this hood, and you know, I didn't want it rocking to. It just annoyed me too much, you know. It's the hood's come out really nice. There was a lot of reshaping in that, and like I say, that's the remnants. You know, say we've used the original hood, you know, I think that's come out really well. You know, it was one of them things where I didn't realise that was the shape of the hood until I just saw one photo of it at a certain angle, and you could see all the contours, and I was just like, oh, I could have nearly lost the will to live. But we persevered, and it's come out really nice. It's got all the right contours that the real car had, even though they're quite complex, and you know, that's all styrene. So yeah, like I say, what I'll do is we're already at half an hour. I've got other bits and pieces to fit. I've got the door handles I poached from some 69 Revel Dodge Chargers. They were just like parts kits anyways. I won't ruin a new kit. I've got a couple of aerials I put aside. I might do some handles with the spot lamps on the interior just before I glue it in. Radiator support, spot lamps, you know, master cylinder. Yeah, I just used the other half from this kit again, just so we could have a full master cylinder, because for some reason they only give you half a one in this kit. So yeah, what I'll do now is, I'm really sorry. I know this is going to be a long video, but like I say, I didn't want to just show it to you and then have nothing. Yeah, how we put it all together and what have you. So yeah, if you don't mind bearing with us, I'll try and keep the next clip short. But I'm just gonna go away, get all this buttoned up, glued together. We'll do a final video, and then we'll be done with it. So thanks ever so much, and we'll see you in a second. Right guys, I think we're going to call this one done now. I'd like to say it only took half an hour to put together, but I think it was more 2 or 3 hours of fitting and finishing and doing all the little bits and pieces to it. I'd never actually put this kit together before. This actual kit, you know, it's been such a rush for the last few days to try and get all the details done and create a nice model that, you know, I've never had everything fully together enough to fit it all and see where the problems were. And yeah, it was a little bit tight getting everything in there. Had to do a bit of sanding on the door sides of the door cards just to get it slid up. But in all fairness, I think there was other issues. I think the chassis was a little bit warped or something, and it kept tweaking. So I've had to secure that with other bits and pieces. But yeah, I think it's turned out really well. To be quite fair, now we're all said and done. Yeah, really, the car I was trying to recreate, that was what prompted the project. Just seeing an image of that Seattle police car which was restored, and I thought I'd really like to recreate that one day, and yeah, I think we captured it pretty well. Conversion went well. I don't think I would have got it any better in the time frame, but like I say, I may do another body and just spend a little bit more time on a few things, but not saying that this one's at fault at all. But I think it's I certainly think with the time scale we had, we've certainly done a nice job on it. And yeah, if you see any dust on the model at all, I just don't want to repolish it, just because things are setting at the moment. But yeah, we'll take it off the stand and have a bit of a butcher's at it. Like I say, I'm having to be pretty delicate at the moment. I mean, everything it's pretty set, how I've not ended up getting super glue and all different kinds of glue all over this, I'm not too sure, but yeah, I mean, the conversion, the roof has gone well. Just bring this old builder, so just so you can sort of see the difference in the roof line and what have you. So, and in all fairness, it wasn't the hardest conversion. It was a couple of simple cuts, and then it's just a case of refining it all and making everything else work with it. So, but yeah, I mean, the two-tone came out well. I obviously used Tamiya tape. I mean, if you're doing two-tones and you haven't got that stuff, then I'd highly recommend it. It's I'm from a body shop background, and I used to use like the 3M style fine line tape, and it's nowhere near as good for scale building as the Tamiya stuff. So yeah, we got the lines nice and crisp. It wasn't the easiest two-tone, to be fair. I think getting all this painted so it's nice sharp lines everywhere wasn't the easiest, and I was really worried, to be quite fair, once I'd done the two-tone or cut leading up to doing the two-tone, that the doors might look, the symmetry of everything might look off. But yeah, I think we got the doors really cock on. Them rear buttresses flow into the quarter panels really nicely on both sides. It's quite difficult to get that line in and make it look like it was meant to be there. Obviously, we've reshaped the window and what have you, but yeah, I mean, the door lines and everything were, getting all this stuff right. It was absolutely key to this colour, two-tone colour, because if the rain channels didn't blend into where the doors met, it would stand out like a sore thumb. So yeah, I think we've got it looking pretty nice. I mean, I like the more obscure police liveries. I do like a black and white. I've got plenty of them to do for that, to continue me Gone in 60 Seconds builds from the original Gone in 60 Seconds. I've got a lot of conversions to do in black and white. But yeah, I just think that blue with the cream ivory colour, I think it really sets the date of the model for how they looked in the early 70s. And even the green interior, I'm so glad I went with the green interior, because that just dates dates the model as well. You know, I think a little bit obscure, like I say, but you can still see the sort of details through the windows and what have you. We've got enough light showing in. I mean, my light in here isn't too great, but yeah, I mean, yeah, the roof bar looks nice. We got the height we wanted on that. You know, it doesn't look like it's hugging the roof panel at all. And you know, in all fairness, I thought the roof panel and the handles and stuff like that were going to be the biggest problem of putting this together. But to be quite fair, they're the easiest. I just used Mod Podge to glue them in place, and they're pretty much solid on there now. So, but yeah, I mean that's turned out really well. We got the spot lamps on there. I did pre-drill the holes. I had to go in and just drill them out a little bit more. I've got the pilot holes in. I knew I'd have to drill them out a little bit more for these spot lamps, but yeah, we got the spot lamps mounted. We did have put in the spot lamp handles, the interior handles inside on both sides. We just popped them in before we glued the body in. Yeah, I think the decals were perfect for it. You know, I don't think I would have been happy if I didn't build this particular model for this particular car for the first time. I've done one of these conversions on a 70 Plymouth, and you know that was what was inspiring it all along. So, but yeah, that J&S decal sheet was absolutely spot on for me. I mean, I did buy quite a few just because obviously we're over here in the UK and you don't get much stuff like that. But yeah, the wheels came from John Burroughs. I'll put a link into his website. He has some. If you're in the UK and you're after these parts, you know, it's absolutely spot on because you know I bought quite a bit of stuff off him just recently, and you know it's yeah, it really did help finish the project where I was a little bit stuck. Yeah, thanks to both Mike and Lee for pointing me in the direction. But yeah, I will put a link into the description. If it's not up in the description straight away, it'll just be because I'm uploading the video at my partner's house. Yeah, but have a check back in a day or so, and you know there should be something in the description there, to be quite honest with you. So, but yeah, I mean, really happy with that. Rear front bumper, really glad I got these the fleet push bars installed and made. You know, that, like I say, that was one of the details I managed to do when I bought myself a little bit more time with it. And you know, I think on Wednesday night, you know, Wednesday was such a push, and I tried to do as much as I could, but you know, I had the broadband engineer come out again just to insult my intelligence a little bit more, and then me and my partner we went to go and see Suede at a gig in York on the evening. So you know, I didn't get back till gone 11 o'clock that night. So yeah, there's no way you're going to get all this done and everything else done in a few hours, like so. But yeah, I mean, I think really pleased with that. Really pleased with it. If anything, I would have liked to have spent a bit more time on the rear suspension. I mean, it does sit like it's got a bit of a rake at the moment. You know, that is what it is. You know, but it still looks right. You know, on the bench and what have you. You know, it sits right, and you know, I won't be displeased with displaying that in a display case when I buy one for it. I think that's the one thing that I'm struggling with at the moment when I'm building these kits, is actually displaying them everywhere. But yeah, I mean, you know, to say we started this, maybe less than 2 months ago, and to be quite honest, I had to break off it for a few weeks to get that Cortina finish. You know, that was it was just going from one deadline to another, I'm afraid, and I probably had a week off. You know, I just wasn't feeling it at the time to jump straight back on another project straight after that small scale. So it's probably my own fault. I should have done a little bit more in the but I thought I'd take a couple of days away from the bench, and that probably turned into 5 days or something. So, but that's life, isn't it? So, but yeah, I mean, we got the engine all, everything installed. I glued them two halves together, and I knew it wouldn't fit. It barely fits with just half the master cylinder which they provide you in there, but we filed it all down, we made it fit underneath there, and it still looks like a full master cylinder. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with this engine bay. I think, with just a nice bit of detail paint and a few decals everywhere and here and there, I think it's turned out quite nice in there. But yeah, I mean, like I say, it's now it's all said and done. Really don't know what else to say about it, to be quite fair. I mean, hopefully it speaks for itself. I mean, like I say, it's quite an achievement for me to. Well, it's very risky, I would say. I've only been doing YouTube a couple of months, and this could have gone very, very wrong. To be honest, if the body didn't turn out right, then I probably wouldn't have finished the project. I wouldn't have insulted myself by doing it. So, but yeah, I mean, if I bought that as a resin kit, a resin body, I think I'd be pretty happy with it. I think everything works well together. If you do Google the real, I mean, like I say, if you just put in 1970 Plymouth satellite police car, it's the first car that hits your sights on Google. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just really nice. It's really nice. I'm really pleased with it. Really pleased with it. It has been a bit of a hard slog trying to get this done, even a couple of days late. I really didn't want to leave it until next week. I think, pretty much everybody else managed to get theirs done, and I did feel really bad for a newcomer into YouTube joining a big group build and not getting it finished on time. I think that was, I do like to pride myself on hitting deadlines, but I do sort of like to pride myself on bringing out a nice product at the end of it. I don't want to show anything which I'm not happy with, and I wouldn't have taken this video if I'm not at the stage where I'm happy with it now and I can set it down and leave it. That is a finished model now. So, but yeah, I mean, even looking at, I thought when I was building this, when looking at it from the rear end now, which with very minor changes, but it really does look like that, starting to look like that 68 Joanne Plymouth Fury. It has that same look to it. Obviously that's a 4-door, and this is just a little bit later. But yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll just pop it in the light box. We'll pop in the light box, see if we can see it any better. See it any better in that separate light. Sorry, I just got a message there. I was half reading it, and but yeah, we'll pop it in there and then we'll sign the video off. So if you've stuck around this long, just hang on for another 5 minutes or so. I did take quite a few build pictures of it. So there's probably I'll put 50 pictures up at the end. It's all from the last 7 days, because that's really when I jumped back on it. So you might see a few things repeated in different stages, but yeah, I think there's not much else we can really say about it, to be fair. It's done now, and we'll just crack on. So just bear with me one moment and I'll be back with you in a second. Right then, this is the last little bit of the video. We just, like I say, popped in the light box just to get a bit of a look in a bit different light, so to speak. I don't think it's necessarily much better than on the bench, but we get to see it one last time. Probably won't be seen by many other people from here on in. maybe if I do the Telford show in November, I think it is. I think that's the next real show for us, and I've never attended before, and I think if I maybe attend a show, I'd probably bring this along for people to have a look at. But yeah, like I say, really happy with it. Seeing it all finished. I mean, it's not gone without its frustrations. I mean, the last few days have been, just creating things out of nothing. Has been a little bit frustrating. But I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to wanting to get things as right as possible. It's. But I think it's all paid off in the end, and like I say, I really appreciate everybody who's been supportive of the build so far. Left really nice comments on the previous videos, and even in the U.S.A.C.C group. I think I've got a lot of support from people in the group. I've still not watched anybody's videos. It's not because I ain't wanted to. It's just that I've literally not sat down and watched any YouTube over the last week or so. It's just been, I've worked quite a bit on this, and sometimes you just need a bit of break from modelling, whether it's at the bench or whether it's on telly. I mean, generally I watch everybody's channels 7 days a week. I don't really watch anything else, but it's been a few late nights to get this one done. So I think tonight is going to be my first night when I have absolutely nothing booked in. I think I'm just going to pop around to my partner's this afternoon, or maybe early evening, get this on, and then I'll probably buy a few beers and just sit in front of telly and watch everybody's videos. And if you've done one of these, I know there's a lot of great people out there who have done them. Please feel free to put a link in the description to your build. I mean, it'll probably help me find yours. I've started watching, just watching a little bits of other people's, but I've not really wanted to watch the full video until I'm done and dusted myself. But yeah, I mean, I think like I say, everybody's been really supportive of the build, and I think I'm glad it's turned out nice for everyone. Really, I think had I not been doing YouTube, I don't think I would have taken it as far, to be quite fair. I think the obstacles that had met me in the past, I might have just worked around and made a decent looking model and something for myself. But I think it's with the help of all you guys watching that pushes me to take things a little bit further and push my own skill set a little bit here and there. And it's not the first conversion I've done, but I'd say it's the first conversion I've done where I've really tried to get it as close as possible. I think that hood there, I think once I saw them contours of the hood, if I'd done it myself, I probably would have just put a strip of styrene in centre and just kind of shaped in a little bit, so it wouldn't have been as accurate. But even the hood wasn't a massive pain to do, to be fair. You just had to think about how you're going to take each little job on to get the look you want. But yeah, I mean, like I say, I've said it a million times. I'm really happy with this one. I think to have this now where I can just leave it alone. Like I say, I'll probably buy a little display case if I can for it and put it in there. I'll just put it in a box until that time comes. I think I've run out of all my display cases. I've got all my other builds in them, and that wasn't many. So, but again, I mean, like I say, thanks for everybody who's watched the video. I know it's been a long one. We're probably up in getting up to 50 minutes before you've even the photos. I'm assuming there'll probably be 10 minutes of photos at the end as well. So, but yeah, if you've well, I'll just sign this off now. Say thank you to all my supporters of the channel. Please do give us a sub. This is what we're doing it for. This is why I had to make the extra effort, is to sort of show you guys of how I do things. Like I say, it's not always necessarily the right way, but I think I'll be doing more of these on the channel. I'll maybe stand away from a conversion for a couple of months, but like I said, the list of conversions I do want to do, then is quite big, so we'll definitely be doing some more. I think we'll definitely be doing some more. I think I'm going to stay out of a couple of group builds for the next month or so. There's some I was going to join, but I just want to get back doing my own thing for a little while. And I really aspired to this group build, and the small scale group build was the ones I really aspired to. And I'm very, very grateful for being able to have the opportunity to join that group build. And like I say, I'll be starting to watch everybody else's videos over the weekend and probably into next week, because I can imagine there's a lot of them. And but yeah, once again, thanks everybody for watching, listening to me voice for 50 minutes and looking over this thing and with me. But like I say, there's a big break between updates on this one, so it's unfortunately ended up another long video. But yeah, I'm going to shut my face. I'm just going to shut my face, go to the shop, get some beers, get this uploaded, and enjoy the rest of my evening. So I really hope you have a great weekend, everybody, and hopefully we'll have another video up soon of something else. It won't be a rushing into another build one just yet, but yeah, we'll certainly have something round corner. So thanks, and we'll see you later. See you, bye.